was almost like it was my tombstone. And I actually remember thinking in that moment, well, that is not going to be like that. That's not right. That's not me. No. And they resuscitated me and I was brought back to life. And basically, it was nothing mechanical. It was because there wasn't enough blood in my body. So now I was given 3 blood transfusions. 3 blood transfusions. And I don't know if anybody's had that amount of blood put into their body, but it was so strange because I felt like somebody else. I kept thinking, I've got somebody else's blood in my body, and I felt really strange. And the surgeon came and told me that I had an 8-pound tumour in my uterus, and then I needed immediate surgery, otherwise, even though they resuscitated me, I wouldn't be living any longer. I didn't have 10 pence, let alone the $100,000 that the administrator was on the phone ringing, asking me before they did the operation. So after a while I explained that I didn't have any money and I really genuinely couldn't pay. It was so embarrassing to ring back home and beg all the people, the rich capitalist friends I had in the city who, when I did actually ask for help, all ran in the opposite direction, even though I thought they were my best friends. So I was in hospital alone with no money, dying in a foreign country, and it was horrendous. That's fear. That's what fear is, truly fear. Because when you face that type of fear, you never ever will be afraid again, ever. There's nothing more fearful than that. So for me it was very positive because facing that fear, I knew I didn't need to be afraid anymore. The voice I remembered and just kept thinking, what was that? What was that about? So the doctor gave me progesterone, which stops bleeding, and said you have probably 7 or 8 days to get home and get somebody to help you. Polly came to pick me up from the hospital, and when we got back to the house, we'd been evicted because we hadn't paid the rent. So we ended up sleeping 8 days in a Los Angeles, East Compton homeless shelter with guns under mattresses, with people who were crazy on crack cocaine, and it was the most amazing experience because we felt like we had more than they did, even though I didn't have anything except time, a few days. So for the 7 or 8 days we were there, we inspired everybody, we tried to get everybody talking, being close together, and it was really an amazing experience and something that I would still do again if I got the chance. Flew back to the UK in July 2005. Within 6 days I'd found a surgeon, Mr. Island, who's at the General in Leicester. I told him my story and I begged him to help me, and he did. He immediately performed surgery. I was cut from here to here, and they removed what he said was the biggest fibroid he'd ever seen in his entire career. It weighed 8 pounds. It was huge. He removed it, he put me back together, I had a full hysterectomy, and he told me that I was going to be okay, which was absolutely incredible. So, multi-millionairess, city headhunter, homeless, dying, with nothing. Once I got better, and also thank God for the NHS, thank you God, because most people don't have any idea how amazing that free medical attention is, particularly when you're dying and you don't have it. So that was fantastic. It took me about 6 months to get better, and then I had to sign on the dole, which at 48 or whatever, as an international headhunter and Hollywood celebrity stylist, Leicester Job Centre was a bit freaked out. And I was a bit freaked out when I found out I only get £60 a week, which was quite difficult. But in a way, after that experience, I decided I wanted to live without materialism. I wanted to give up everything that was disgusting revolting about the way we live our lives. So I gave up sex, chocolate, meat, caffeine, shopping, drugs, alcohol. I gave up everything.
Smoking.
Oh, smoking. Smoking. Just like that. Because when you're given your life back for a second time, you don't mess around with it. You take care of it. So that was a natural instinct for me, that I would not contaminate my body. And then I decided that money hadn't made me happy, clearly, because I ended up in the gutter. So what could I do on the dole as a brilliant, brilliant middle-aged woman who'd never recognised for one moment how brilliant I was? What could I do that would make me come back as something fantastic? So I lived with no money for 5 years. The BBC made a programme and ITV made a programme called Living Without Money, which we were both featured in. And I decided that as God being good, because we all believe in God, but we all have our different interpretation of it. When I talk about God, I'm talking about good. I decided I would work for God for free and be good, but not be religious, but be a rock and roll nun. Because I think if you're going to, if you do meet with God and you're given a second chance, obviously God not being a person in the sky, or I have no idea what God is, all I know is I was pulled out from a wreckage and given a second chance. I decided I'd work for free for God. Also to say thank you to the dole, because obviously taking that money and not giving back was horrific. And I started going out late at night and life coaching the homeless and alcoholics on the street and drug addicts. And the BBC followed us, and we were really helping a lot of people believe in themselves without talking about God, because as you know, the minute you mention the word, everybody thinks religion's about war, it all gets a bit difficult. So selling God is really difficult, which is why I call it good. Working with the homeless was just incredible, and had some amazing experiences, and it really made me very happy. So I was happy in here, truly happy. And then I decided that I wanted to check out the masses and see what the masses are feeling, because I kind of got this feeling that everybody was depressed, and why is everybody smoking? Why was I smoking? Why is everybody drinking themselves to death? Having sex with strangers, risking this beautiful thing that only when you lose it you recognise how amazing it is. Why are people doing this? Why was I doing it? And it's because we have no meaning in our lives. We've become a society of consumers. You can't buy a life at Harrods, you can only buy things that go into a life. Money can't make you happy. All it can do is give you things. We all look outward for the answer. But when you look inward for the answer, you find God. Again, God not being a man in the sky. So, I had a look around and I recognised that there were incredibly huge amounts of unhappy people. And I looked at, there's a 3-year waiting list for talking therapy for people. Young people, when you hang out with them, they're all so depressed and so worried and so have no direction, and it's all such a mess. So I thought, I've got to do something fantastic to save the world, especially as I work for God for free. So I decided to start a social enterprise called venuscow.com, which at the moment is at Leicester University, and it's being built by the students as part of their project. And it's all been put together with no money, so you can start a business without money, and you can be successful without money. Venus Cow is going to prove that. And it's a talking therapy site where you can go on, you keep a journal, and instead of like on Facebook, where you put all your personal life on yourself, believing in yourself, and helping yourself to be cured of all the stupid things that take you down. So that's been built all without money. My time as a social entrepreneur and socialist is up now because I've got to raise £1 million to market Venus Cow. So I've gone back to being a capitalist with a conscience, and I'm headhunting again in the city. And at this time I'm going to all the banks and telling them about Venus Cow and why I'm doing it and what the money's for. And once again, the business is looking very, very good and it's all going to be fantastic. But faith, for me, is when you hand over yourself, because you can no longer cope with yourself. You're in a situation that you are incapable of dealing with. So you hand it over to the greater thing that's much greater than me, because I can't even explain how I can see out my eyes, so clearly something's greater than me. You hand it over and you wait for instructions. And all I can tell you is my meeting with God completely changed my life. And I am so happy now. I don't do anything except run, go to the gym, meditate. I'm celibate. I'm proud to be celibate. I'm talking to lots of young girls in schools. I'm talking to drug addicts. And I hope that tonight, listening to my story, that you will all give a bit of your time to not be judgmental, but to recognise that without true faith, we're all going to be pretty miserable. So thank you all very much. It's been fantastic. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, then please do so.